Hello, Internet. It's time to read the Bible. Picking up in June 2nd, I believe. Yeah. We'll be reading start 2 Samuel chapter 19, verses 10b to chapter 20, verse 13. We're going to try old Cajun out today. We'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, there was much discussion and argument going on all across the nation. Why are we talking about bringing the king back? It was a great topic everywhere. Well, he saved us from our enemies, the Philistines, and Absalom, who we made our king instead, chased him out of the country. But now Absalom dead, let's ask David to return, be our king again. Then David sent Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, to say to the elders of Judah, why are you the last ones to reinstate the king? For all Israel is ready, and only you are holding out. Yet you are my own brothers, my own tribe, my own flesh and blood. And he told him to tell Amasa, since you are my nephew, may God strike me dead if I do not appoint you as commander-in-chief of my army in the place of Joab. Then Amasa convinced all the leaders of Judah, and they responded as one man. They sent word to the king, return to us and bring back all those who are with you. The king started back to Jerusalem, and when he arrived at the Jordan River, it seemed as if everyone in Judah had come to Gilgal to meet him and escort him across the river. Then Shimei, the son of Gera the Benjamite, the man from Bahurim, hurried across with the men of Judah to welcome King David. 1,000 men from the tribe of Benjamin were with him, including Ziba, the servant of Saul, and Ziba's 15 sons and 20 servants. They rushed down to the Jordan to arrive ahead of the king. They all worked hard, fed the king's households, and the troops crossed to help them in every way they could. As the king was crossing, Shimei fell down before him and pleaded, my lord the king, please forgive me and forget the terrible thing I did when you left Jerusalem, for I know very well how much I sinned. This is why I have come here today, the very first person in all the tribe of Joseph to greet you. Abishai asked, shall not Shimei die, for he cursed the Lord's chosen king? Don't talk to me like that, David exclaimed. This is not a day for execution, but for celebration. I am once more King of Israel. Then turning to Shimei, he vowed, your life is spared. Now Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, arrived from Jerusalem to meet the king. He had not washed his feet or clothes, nor trimmed his beard since the day the king left Jerusalem. Why didn't you come with me, Mephibosheth? The king asked him. And he replied, my lord, O king, my servant Ziba deceived me. I told him, saddle my donkey so that I can go with the king. For as you know, I am lame. But Ziba had slandered me by saying that I refused to come. But I know that you are as an angel of God, so do what you think best. And I and all my relatives could expect only death from you, but instead you have honored me among all those who eat at your table. So how can I complain? All right, David replied. My decision is that you and Ziba will divide the land equally between you. Give him all of it, Mephibosheth said. I'm content just to have you back again. Barzillai, who had fed the king and his army during their exile in Mahanaim, arrived from Rogelim to conduct the king across the river. He was very old now, but 80 and very wealthy. No, he replied, I'm far too old for that. I skipped a bit. My apologies. So, he was very wealthy. Come across with me and live in Jerusalem, the king said to Barzillai. I will take care of you there. No, he replied, I'm far too old for that. I'm 80 years old now today, and life has lost its excitement. Food and wine are no longer tasty. Entertainment is not much fun. I would only be a burden to my lord the king. Just across Just to go across the river with you is all the honor I need. Then let me return again to die in my own city, where my father and mother are buried. But here is Chimaham. Let him go with you and receive whatever good things you want to give him. Good, the king agreed. Chimham shall go with me, and I will do for him whatever I would have done for you. So all the people crossed the Jordan with the king. And after David kissed and blessed Barzillai, he returned home. The king then went on to Gilgal, taking Chimham with him. And most of Judah and half of Israel were there to greet him. But the men of Israel complained to the king, because only men from Judah had ferried him and his household across the Jordan. Why not? The men of Judah replied. The king is one of our own tribe. Why should this make you angry? We have charged him nothing. He hadn't fed us or given us gifts. But there are 10 tribes in Israel, the other replied. We had 10 times as much right as the king, and the king as you do. Why didn't you invite the rest of us? And remember, we were the first to speak of bringing him back to be our king again. The argument continued back and forth, and the men of Judah were very rough in their replies. Then a hothead, whose name was Sheba, son of Bichri and Benjamite, them Benjamites, blew a trumpet and yelled, We want nothing to do with David. Come on, you men of Israel, let's get out of here. He's not our king. So all except Judah and Benjamin turned around and deserted David and followed Sheba. Mm-mm-mm. But the men of Judah stayed with their king, accompanying him from the Jordan to Jerusalem. When he arrived at his palace in Jerusalem, the king instructed that his 10 wives he had left to keep house should be placed in seclusion. Their needs were to be cared for, he said, but he would no longer sleep with them as wives. So they remained in virtual widowhood until their deaths. Interesting turn of events there. Then the king instructed Amasa to mobilize the army of Judah within 3 days, and report back at that time. So Amasa went out to notify the troops, but it took him longer than 3 days he had been given. Then David said to Abishai, That fellow Sheba is going to hurt us more than Absalom did. Quick, take my bodyguard and chase after him before he gets into a fortified city where we can't reach him. So Abishai and Joab set out after Sheba with an elite guard from Joab's army and the king's own bodyguard. As they arrived at the great stone in Gibeon, they came face to face with Amasa. Joab was wearing his uniform with a dagger strapped to his side. As he stepped forward to greet Amasa, he stealthily slipped the dagger from his sheath. I'm glad to see you, my brother, Joab said, and took him by the beard with his right hand as though to kiss him. Amasa didn't notice the dagger in his left hand, and Joab stabbed him in the stomach with it, so that his bowels gushed out on the ground. He did not need to strike again. He died there. Joab and his brother Abishai left him lying there and continued on after Sheba. One of Joab's young officers shouted at the master's troops, If you are for David, come and follow Joab. But the master lay in his blood in the middle of the road, and when Joab's young officer saw that a crowd was gathering around to stare at him, they dragged him off the road into a field and threw a garment over him. With the body out of the way, everyone went on with Joab to capture Sheba. We now move on to John, 21, verses 1 through 25. Later, Jesus appeared again to the disciples beside the Lake of Galilee. This is how it happened. A group of us were there: Simon Peter, Thomas, the twin, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, my brother James, and I, and 2 other disciples. Simon Peter said, I'm going fishing. We'll come too, we all said. We did. We caught nothing all night. At dawn, we saw a man standing on the beach, but couldn't see who it was. He called, "Any fish, boys?" "No," we replied. Then he said, "Throw out your net on the right-hand side of the boat. You'll get plenty of them." So we did, and you couldn't draw in the net because it weighted the fish. There were so many. Then I said to Peter, "It's the Lord." At that time, Simon Peter put on his tunic, for he was stripped to the waist, and jumped into the water and swam ashore. The rest of us stayed in the boat and pulled the loaded net to the beach about 300 feet away. When we got there, we saw that there was a fire kindled with fish were frying over it, and there were bread. "Bring some of the fish you just caught," Jesus said. So Simon Peter went out and dragged the net ashore. By his count, there were 153 large fish, and yet the net hadn't torn. "Now come and have some breakfast," Jesus said. None of us dared ask him if he really was the Lord, but we were quite sure of it. Then Jesus went around serving us the bread and the fish. This was the third time Jesus had appeared to us since his return from the dead. After breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these others?" "Yes," Peter replied. "You know I am your friend." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, "Simon, son of John, do you really love me?" "Yes, Lord," Jesus said. "You know I am your friend." "Then take care of my sheep," Jesus said. Once more he asked him, "Simon, son of John, are you even my friend?" Peter was grieved at the way Jesus asked the question this third time. "Lord, you know my heart. You know I am," he said. Jesus said, "Then feed my little sheep. When you were young, you were able to do as you like and go wherever you want to. But when you were old, you will stretch out your hands and others will direct you to take you where you don't want to go." Jesus said this to let him know what kind of death he would die to glorify God. Then Jesus told him, "Follow me." Peter turned around and saw the disciple Jesus loved following, the one who had learned about at the supper at that time to ask Jesus, "Master, which of us will betray you?" Peter asked Jesus. "What about him, Lord? What sort of death will he die?" Jesus replied, "If I want him to live until I return, what's it to you? You follow me." So the rumor spread among the brotherhood that that disciple wouldn't die. But that isn't what Jesus said at all. He only said, "If I want him to live until I come." What is it to you? I am. I saw these events, and I have recorded them here. And we all know that my account of these things is accurate. And I suppose that if all the other events in Jesus' life were written, the whole world could hardly contain the books. Another kind of side jab at Peter, referring to himself as the disciple Jesus loved. It's true, but still, it's kind of funny that I, I don't want to say he was jealous of Peter or maybe a little annoyed with all the attention Peter gets. Maybe he could tell this was going to be a thing, but like, done like, I'm the disciple Jesus loved. Eh, anyway, I tease. I'm sure it came from a good place, but I kind of liked my head canon of a rivalry between Peter and John. Anyway, let's go on. Psalm chapter 120, verses 1 through 7. Just a nice little snippet. "In my troubles, I pled with God to help me, and He did. Deliver me, O Lord, from lies. O lying tongue, what shall be your fate? You shall be pierced with sharp arrows and burned with glowing coals. My trouble pile high among these haters of the law, these men of Mesech and Kedar. I'm tired of being here among these men who hate peace. I am for peace, but they are for war, and my voice goes unheeded in their council. Now we go to Proverbs chapter 16, verse 16 and verse 17. How much better is wisdom than gold, and understanding than silver? The path of the godly leads away from evil. He who follows that path is safe. That's a little snippet there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this time and this reading. I hope you were edified and had some enjoyment about it, as I just said. I'm a little tired, so I think I'm about to start rambling if I don't just. I'm glad I'm wrapping this up now. Anyway, what's the thing I always say? Oh yes, the most important thing of all. God bless you.